Hey everybody, welcome back to World of Tanks with Hachiman. Due to popular request, I am bringing a review of the T37 American Tier 6 light tank, which came to us some time ago, maybe 9.0, as part of the new American light tank line. It is my favorite of the Tier 6 light tanks in the game, by far, just not even close to anything else in terms of what you can do with this nasty little machine. Due to my new software, I can now in one battle include your garage overview, or in one video, include your garage overview as well as much gameplay as I want. I've got a double dose of gameplay, and I will tell you the gameplay comes from Vintage Nick, and he's in a Tier 6 Stronghold battle, but it is still some of the best T37 play that I could get you, so it will certainly do the job. The T37, I don't view it as a true scout. And the reason I don't view it as a true scout is because of its gun, as well as its speed. It is really much more of a flank attacker, able to trouble much bigger, badder tanks with its weaponry, and with enough speed to get out of dodge when it needs to. It's not really pure scout. It's not quite fast enough, say a VK2801, which here recently got a speed boost and gets into the 70s. So let's talk about this little machine. First things first. I do want to compare it to the T21, the other American Tier 6 Light. And you'll see that it is a little bit higher profile. Not much, just a little taller. Not quite as sleek as the T21. So it doesn't have necessarily the best camo value of any light tank, but it's pretty good. Talking about armor, it's a light tank, guys. Come on. 25 frontal hull, 31 frontal turret, 25 side turret and hull, 25 rear turret, and 19 rear hull. Now, if you see one of these and you've got an easy shot, just shoot at the turret, okay? Because look at that hull. You've got quite a bit of angle there. And 25 millimeters is not much, but that is the actual thickness. The effective thickness is more like 40, 42, somewhere in that ballpark. Upper glacis and lower glacis are the same, and which is not enough to save it by any means. But if you happen to shoot at it at this angle and it skates across the top, well, I mean you got to figure that is a substantially greater angle. So things like that can happen. Does have a pretty solid gun mantlet. The frontal turret and gun mantlet will pull off a miracle bounce on occasion. It does happen. Shooting in the side and rear should solve the problem, though. I will tell you that the tracks on this tank are very big, so avoid firing heat at the side unless you're aiming up here or at the turret. Otherwise, heat is likely to hit these large tracks and explode ineffectively just tracking your target. Talk about speed and maneuverability. 66 kph top speed, which is very respectable. Certainly faster than any other Tier 6 medium tank, but this is a light. Tanks like the MT25, the Type 64, the French AMX 12T, almost all the Tier 6 light tanks in the game are faster than the T37. Okay, but this is fast enough. You give it 48 degrees of traverse in its track, and it turns very quickly. Also, you have 44 degrees per second turret traverse. So if you are traversing one way and traversing the turret the same way, you get a combined 92 degrees per second traverse. Okay. What that lets this tank do better than possibly any other Tier 6 tank is it can circle strafe an opponent like you wouldn't believe. You can run circles around your opponent locked on, right click locking onto the target, and virtually always hit. Okay, the turret will, combined with the tracks when traverse the same direction, will always be able to stay on target, even fighting another T37. Okay, you will have no trouble. Even fighting a faster machine like an MT25, you will have no trouble. talk about the guns. And we do say guns because, oops, that's what I meant to do. Because we have different, well, look at that. That's a really interesting bug. Alright, let's come at it from a different way, shall we? Here we go. We'll look at it in the research tree. You start with the 75mm M6. This gun should sound very familiar to you because it is also the stock gun on the Chaffee, which on the Chaffee, that is an adequate gun. Your second upgrade is the 76mm T94. Okay, this increases your penetration from 96 to 137 on standard ammo, which is more than adequate for this tank and what it needs to do. The reason I say more than adequate is because the M1A2 gun, for example, on the Fury Easy 8 Jumbo, which is a Tier 6 medium, is 128. If you're shooting at the front of Tier 7 and 8 heavy tanks with this, you're doing it wrong. It's a very simple concept, but you'd be surprised how often 137 pen will pen the front of an IS or T29, especially if you aim at the lower plate. You upgrade your turret, which it gets you a few more hit points, obviously, increases your view range by 15 meters, and then you get your choice of two other guns. You have the 76mm T91, and you have the 76mm T102. Well, what's the difference in these two weapons? Well, first off, the T102, as you can see by this icon, is an autoloader. The T91 is not. Okay, the autoloader holds 5 shells in a magazine. It requires 2 seconds between shells, pretty typical for American autoloaders, and 20 seconds to reload the entire clip. That is, of course, assuming a 100% loader and no additional equipment or skills. The penetration is 137 millimeters, which is the same as the gun you get before the turret, the T94. Dispersion 0.38. It is an American light tank gun. You're not going to get the best accuracy. Aim time 2.1 seconds, which is very good overall. It will aim basically as quickly as one shell loads. So no real complaints there. Average damage 115. It's a 76mm gun. However, then you've got the non-autoloader. The non-autoloader decreases the aim time from 2.1 to 1.9, okay, and also increases the penetration on standard rounds by 13 millimeters from 137 to 150, okay, and as for that matter, the premium goes up 14 millimeters as well to 199. That 150 millimeters of penetration will make all the difference in many of your games as to whether or not you can pen the enemy without premium ammunition. Okay, to give you an idea, an equivalent, let's go to the tech tree for a moment, and we're going to go to Germany, and we will go to, where is she? To the Tier 7 German Panther. Oop, not that gun, I'm sorry. The Panther starts with a Tier 6 gun with 150 millimeters of penetration. It is well known as a perfectly adequate gun. It's the gun that comes on the Panther M10, and that's a Tier 7 medium. You're a Tier 6 light, which is essentially the same tier. My recommendation, the autoloader is a fun gun. Okay? I can't put it any other way. There's your autoloader. It is a fun gun. That quick fire 5 shots, however, 115 damage times 5 shots, if they all hit, if they all penetrate, is 565 damage average. That is not enough to kill a Type 64. Okay? That is not enough to kill a T37. That is not enough to kill a T21. It's not even enough to kill an MT25. There is no Tier 6 light tank game in the game that you can kill with this clip. If you get into a dogfight with another Tier 6 light and neither of you have any support at all, you will lose with the autoloader. So if you take the autoloader, you must play this tank as a fire support tank. That is what you have to do with it. Spot and provide fire support. Do not get into any direct confrontations. And if you have no choice but to get into a direct confrontation, make sure you can get away. I highly recommend this gun. Not this gun, I'm sorry. The one I've got loaded. If for no other reason than 13mm is higher penetration. But let's look at this for a second. You can see I've got a 100% crew that does not have brothers in arms yet, though they are working on it. Okay, I am running vents and I am running Coca-Cola, and I understand not everyone, excuse me, cola. I know not everyone can afford to run cola because it is a premium consumable. But with vents, a 100% crew, and cola, I have an actual reload time right here, 2.96 seconds, less than 3 seconds between shots. 2.96 seconds. Okay, at 115 average damage per shot, I will get 20 shots per minute. Okay, that is 2,230 damage. And with the autoloader, you will not. You will get 5 shots in 8 seconds with a 20-second reload, then 5 shots in 8 seconds and a 20-second reload. You will get 10 shots. Even with a little bit of equipment, you will still only average 12 shots with the autoloader in a 60-second period, whereas I will get 20. I will beat you, plain and simple, if we go up against each other with those types of loadouts. So that's my recommendation, but the autoloader is a lot of fun. Quick overview on a couple other things, by the way. I meant to mention horsepower to rate ratio. It's 23.58 tons the way I've got mine loaded with 500 horsepower. So you're at 23 horsepower per ton, which is great for a light tank. Those are the kind of numbers you expect. This tank is very zippy. Even though its top speed's only 66, it reaches top speed very quickly. And going downhill, of course, you will exceed 70. Equipment. I highly recommend ventilation. Of course, I recommend ventilation on all my tanks. Vertical stabilizer. This is a must-have for this machine. Most of your shots will be made on the move, especially in a pitched battle. You must have a vertical stabilizer. There's just no question about this. Now, I am loading coated optics on mine. You can go back and forth between coated optics and binocs and an enhanced gun laying drive. I don't like binocs because I'm not much for being stationary in a light tank, so that's why I run the coated optics. However, the enhanced gun laying drive is not a bad choice. I personally think with the stabilizer you don't really need it, and with a 1.9 second or 2.1 second aim time, but it does give you a little additional accuracy when you're on the move. So like I said, you can go either way with that. You know, that's totally your call. I think that's enough theory. I think that tells you everything you need to know about this nasty little devil. So it's time to move on to the gameplay. Alright, so here we are on cliffs in a detachment battle. You've got 7 tier 6s obviously on each team. Enemy team is 3 Cromwells, a T3485, a 3001P, a Dicker Max AMX-12T. Our team is 2 T37s, 5916, 2 Cromwells, 2 OIs. And like I said, Vintage Nick is the player here, and you're going to see T37 play as good as it gets in these two battles. Now he is equipped with the standard repair kit, fire extinguisher, and first aid kit, and he has binocs. So Nick's rate of fire is not going to be Vintage Nick, not to be confused with Nicholas O123. Vintage Nick is not going to be quite as fast on his rate of fire. Hesitates a little bit following Alex towards the lighthouse. Our other fast guys went up the one line, taking the right turn to get up the hill, and the OIs are slowly moving up the one line. Vintage Nick about turns left to join those guys, but Alex spots the first enemy tank heading towards the lighthouse, the Cromwell. And then he spots the AMX-12T. And then he spots another Cromwell. Alright, Vintage Nick misses that shot, and then there's another Cromwell. So it's a 4-on-2 up here. And they're all taking pot shots at each other. No one's really hitting Alex, and Vintage Nick is picking up some spot damage here because of the crossfire from over in this area. VK-3001P coming up behind, bringing up the rear part, I should say, of the enemy force. Nick looks to shoot and doesn't have it, so... And it's 1-to-1. We've lost one Cromwell. Now he's got a shot on 3001P. Ooh, yeah. Shot goes a little right, skates off the right side of the the 3001's turret. That's not an easy shot. Alex kills. Oh, I'm sorry. No, our OI kills the Cromwell B. That must have been a very long-range shot. So Vintage Nick goes up here to get a spot. It's 2-to-2. That Cromwell is 2, probably 3 hits. There's the T-34-85. You can see gun depression on the T-37 is pretty good. I think it's rated at 9 degrees, but it's like most American tanks. It does well. He doesn't quite move forward far enough to get the shot that he needs. Tries to get it there, and there it connects, leaving the Cromwell 15. And then he decides... Surely the T-34-85 is looking at me, so let me see if I can help my guys out with this 30-01. Zooms in, tracks him, takes another shot, and here comes 30-45. Takes a hit from the 34-85 straight up. Armor's not blocking that shot, and they just lost Alex. That shot went a little wide from the 34-85 and was eaten by his tracks. Vintage Nick did hit him once. Nick's holding tight. Friendly OIs look like they're heading for the base. 30-45 comes over to get Vintage Nick. Nick puts one right through his turret. Might have hit the upper plate, but I think it went below the gun in the turret. Another easy shot. Another easy shot. You can lock on with this gun. 150 pen shooting at tier 6s. You can lock on and expect to penetrate. You're not going to pen the front of an OI generally, especially if he's angled, but... Nice kill shot there. Ranged. Cromwell making a run for it. Puts one through the turret of the 34-85 again. Nice kill shot on the 12T. 12T at 121 hit points left, so it was 6 over the average damage for the gun. And he says, I'm going to execute this 34-85 right here. Boom. Takes a hit for it, which he knew he was going to, but kills him no problem. So now he's got this 30-01P to deal with. He's got his rear, puts one into him. Puts one into the side and then says, yeah, he's turning to look at me. So I don't necessarily want to do that. The OIs are in the cap circle. Lost the spot on the 30-01. And Vintage Nick here makes a very smart move. Most people, when losing the spot there, would tend to rock forward and try to pick up the spot. He just kind of moves to the left and catches the 30-01P as the guy's coming right for him. So at this point he does the right thing and he starts to run away. Lead the 30-01P away just enough into the open that one of the OI snipes him at long range. So that was, you got to see everything the T-37's good at except one thing, and that's circle strafing, but you saw the accuracy of the gun, the rate of fire, the DPM monster that it can be, and you got to see some gun depression as well. So here we go to next part. And here Vintage Nick and his team are on El Haluf, and same setup. I think they played these two games back to back, and they're up against a very heavy team in 3 KV-85s, an OI T-150 Jumbo, and 3001P. Very, very heavy team. Effectively 6 heavies and 1 medium tank. So, because while the Jumbo is technically a medium, it plays more like a heavy. At least it can be played as a heavy. So the whole team is heading up into the northwestern corner, with the exception of one Cromwell who's kind of going to scout that lower part. And this is a standard move for me as well, to swing left of this rocky area here, so that if someone does swing down through the middle on your left there, you can pick them up. Nothing spotted. And they move up to the hill. OIs are coming slowly, but slowly. And the Cromwell down the south is spotted nothing. They crest this hill and just kind of go into snipe mode and wait for something to show up. They have to expect they're going to be doing a little bit of waiting because the enemy team is a bit slower. Alex moves up to the next hill, probably to see what's there. Spots the 3001P. And there's a call to wait for the heavy tanks. Cromwell has run all the way up into Hotel 3 Ford, still hasn't run across anything. So the enemy heavies have to be coming. And there's at least one, a KV-85. And where there's one, sure there's going to be more. Playing this very carefully. Mark Nutt and his Cromwell is coming in behind him. The whole team's got to be there because he's spotted nothing. There's an OI. So yeah, they're all right there. They have to be. Vintage Nick backs up a little bit and climbs the hill with Nick and Alex. Nicholas O and Alex. Pardon me, hiccup all of a sudden. And so apparently whoever's leading makes the call to kill this VK. So all 3 of these guys go charging in. 5916's coming up behind. And Vintage Nick gets the kill. And then there's a T-150. So yeah, the whole enemy team is right in that area. And it's a hard approach for light tanks because it's very linear, it's very structured. They've spotted the Jumbo down in the south. Wow, that shot goes through on the KV-85, very nice. And they've gone and killed the Jumbo. So they're up 2-0. But the problem is they still have to bruise it out with the heavies. Nice sniping into the side of the turret of the T-150. Hits the OI as the OI goes by. Gun is very accurate if you can just give it a moment to settle down. He's just going to keep putting shots into the side of that T-150's turret. They've lost one of their OIs and still haven't killed a heavy tank. They're going to lose their other OI. Yep, there he goes. Vintage Nick is up to 834 damage already. With the only kill, I'm sorry, with one of the 2 kills. They just lost their Cromwell to a derp from the OI. And now they're trying to fight this T-150 who's backing off. Good gun depression, but that hill was pointed up pretty upward, so he couldn't quite get it. Puts one into the T-150, and then Nick kills the other one to even up the score. Now, if I were them, I'd have called for a charge on that OI, but the KV-85 shows up, bounces one off the front of the KV-85's turret. That was a hard shot because you're pointing upwards at it. It's likely to ricochet off. And he puts a nice kill shot into that KV-85, giving his team the upper hand again. We just lost a Cromwell, so it's back to being tied. He's trying to feather a shot around that corner, but he doesn't want to get hit. KV-85 comes out, one right into the side, sets him on fire for the kill. Then he hits that KV-85 and sets him on fire for the kill. And then there's the OI. He backs up a little bit. The OI must have fired and killed one of his partners. Now this is a smart move. He takes a look at the lay of the land, says I can come right around the side here. He's very zoomed out, so he looks like he's going slow, but he's going 40. Side of the OI, easy kill shot. Easy kill shot. 1,644 damage and 6 kills in a detachment. There's only 7 enemy tanks. There's only so many hit points to go around. So I hope these videos gave you a good idea what the T37 is capable of. Of course, there is a difference between this and random battles where you've got 15 guys on a side. But honestly, random battles work the same way. You play the tank basically the same way. Kind of a forward attack unit, flanker, assassin. Not necessarily a true scout. You're not quite fast enough for true scouting. So, guys, I hope you guys really liked this review on the T37. Please thumbs up the video, subscribe if you haven't already, and comment below. We'll see you next time. Thanks a lot, guys.